Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Burst Podcast. This is episode 4. We're very grateful to have Curtis Appleton, who is defensive back at University of Central Missouri. He's from Denver, Colorado, actually the same hometown I'm from, and he played at Cherry Creek High School. He was actually at CU, and now he's a grad transfer playing defensive back. And so welcome, Curtis.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. No, we're very grateful to have you on the episode. Kind of give our audience a little bit more about your background and your story, kind of how you got involved with football and then kind of your passion for the sport.
Okay. It'd actually be cool if I had these pictures. I'm gonna text my mom and tell her to bring them up real quick. But I've been playing football since I was 4 years old. My dad introduced it to me, so that was my thing since I was a kid. So every year for 19 years now, I've been playing football, and that's been my love and passion.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so what about what's the support you're seeing, from your family and friends, since you've been on your journey as a student athlete?
It's changed. Earlier in your journey and stuff in high school and stuff, people don't really see the end goal, I guess, of sports. Like some people don't even love sports in high school. Like they're just playing it to kill time and stuff.
Right.
So like you see a shift from like people in high school, like, oh yeah, like they support it, what I'm saying? They'll get on your social media, like some pictures, yada yada. But once you get to school, it kind of changes. And that's the part once you get out of high school, that's the part where paths change and you start seeing everybody grow into who they want to be and stuff like that. So the support's been cool. I mean, every time I've come home and I talk to people I went to high school with or people who know me through my family members, it's a lot of people who you don't even know that you could make proud or inspire. So it's been a cool thing to see how people followed me throughout school, especially the journey that I had coming out of high school, because it's been a different one, to say the least.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what about, kind of building off that, the youth and the other people that look up to you, right? Kind of like people that look up to you as a mentor, a role model in the sport of football. How do you kind of give back and kind of impact the youth in your community, and really show them that they can go after their dreams in the sport?
I mean, them seeing it is one thing, but then just being able to give the knowledge that maybe you didn't have when you were growing up, you know what I'm saying? So like, especially like recruiting wise, like, oh, if you want to be a good recruit, this is how your social media should look. This is how your highlight tape should look. Hold on. Okay. I got the pictures.
Here we go.
To backtrack, that's a young 4-year-old Kurt.
That's awesome.
Been doing this for a while now.
That smile. I mean, it looks like you're ready and passion from the beginning.
Yeah, love it.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. So, I mean, you were saying, the fans, when they're actually experiencing it and seeing everything that you're doing and the path you've paved,
Yeah.
That really is an inspiration to them, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's so important for them to see that they can actually go and do what you did and kind of do it in their own unique way.
Yep.
And especially seeing that, your journey that's, been on a couple different paths and worked a couple different schools, you can still go after and chase the end goal of what you want to create with your career.
Definitely, and I think people that take that for life or for sports, everybody has a different path, but I mean, it's all going to end up how you want it ultimately.
Right. What about what's your routine look like now compared to high school, playing at the high school level? Now you're at the collegiate level. What does your kind of daily routine look like, whether it's in season compared to the off season? How do you kind of, balance, all your life together, whether it's, with sports, your social life, academics, like how does that all kind of come into your routine?
You just got to prioritize what's. I mean, it hasn't really changed too much. High school, you have that at the beginning of the day and it's 7 to 3 or 7 to 2 or whatever. And then you have your sport. And then after that, you got more school homework probably. And then you just find ways to fit your social life into the school and football part. And that's pretty much the same for school. Once you get to college, you get a little more free time. Classes may not be back to back and for 8 hours a day, but you just prioritize getting your schoolwork done and everything you need to do in terms of your sports obligations, and then your social life could fit in there.
Yeah, no,
And
definitely.
if you're surrounded by the right people too, they understand that. Social life is a little bit different for you. So, if you talk to the right people, you're gonna have a social life regardless of how busy you are.
Yeah. Well, what's the bond look like right now at UCM with your teammates, and how does that how has that helped you and kind of shaped you into the person you are today? Kind of having your teammates and to be able to work off of and to build and really have that relationship with.
Um, they were really supportive from the moment I got there. I mean, I got there last May. I committed in March, April, and got there a month later. So it was actually kind of a quick transition in terms of me coming from Colorado to being out there and instantly training and getting into team activities. But from my first workout there, everybody was cool, everybody supportive, come up to you, shake your hand, ask you who you are, blah, blah, blah. And I received the same support that they got so well that like eventually after a month of me being there or a couple months of me being there, I got promoted to this little leadership council we have on the team. They
Awesome.
do a different group, like it's like one from the freshman group that they think can represent them, and then at the end of the day, it's basically like your captains. So we had the 4 original captains, and then since then, talking to my coaches and my teammates, with some continued work, I'll probably be a captain next year. So like, it's a good thing to have that type of respect from my coaches and teammates.
Right. Well, congrats on that. I mean, that's incredible to be able to have that praise, from both your coaches and teammates. What is your mission and kind of like your vision with everything you're creating within your football career? Like, what does that look like, down the road? You want to take it to the next level with the NFL? What's kind of your mission to
Um,
accomplish?
so definitely, I'm going to go to play professionally, and that would be regardless of if it's NFL, CFL, XFL. There's so many different opportunities of playing sports overseas. So I'm not limiting myself to one or the other, but playing professionally would definitely be that's the plan A that I'm working towards right now. And then in terms of how my life fits into that, I mean, that's what I'm gonna work for, and whatever life, I mean, I guess follows. So if I made it to the league, like that could change a lot, what I'm saying, for somebody's family and things like that. So whatever comes with the
Yeah.
football, and then moving on from that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, I mean, you're on the right path right now, and kind of switching gears a little bit into the Web3 realm of things. You've seen this, the NIL being legitimized, a little over a year ago. You've seen this Web3 industry that's been emerging, and you see how at Burst we're trying to combine the two and empower you being the student athlete and helping you monetize your brand. What are your initial thoughts on Web3, especially having some success with one of our partnerships at Virtual Stacks? How do this Web3 and everything we're creating, how does it play into you as an athlete and helping you with your brand to gain that awareness and to gain more revenue streams, and as well become more closer with a lot of your fans?
Definitely. That goes along with, like you said, building a brand and having that exposure. So, I mean, sports in general, if you have talent, people can see that.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's about getting your name out there and people being able to see what you are, who you are, like, for sports. So Burst so far, like that, it's been surprising because you would text me updates about the auction and stuff, and I'm seeing like, and you really don't know like how many people are passionate about sports like that. And
Right.
This is providing an opportunity to connect me with other people that are passionate about football.
Yeah. Yeah. It gives you a whole different
Along with building a brand.
Yeah, and a whole nother platform to utilize. And you see just how everything's transformed from Web 1 to Web 2 and Web 3, and we're trying to really stress the importance of the educational components, right? Because then you can educate your fans on everything you're doing in this new Web 3 sports world, and how this tech is evolving and helping you in your career, and allowing you to give back, right? You see the charities and nonprofits you can give back to, and you see that there's really so much you can do within a platform, and having the creator economy that's coming full circle, you being the creator, having that control over your brand, right? And actually taking ownership of what you can do and create, and how that impact can help, the youth and the people that look up to you.
Definitely, definitely. Like you said, that platform that you get, it gives you a voice to use. So for fans, you get to introduce them to a side that they might not fully understand. For people who look up to you, you get to show them that they have things to aspire towards, and it all works together. So it's definitely exciting.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's awesome. And there's a lot we're going to do into 2023, which we'll save for a later time. But kind of like, talk a little bit more about not just football, but what are your other passions and hobbies and interests that you really take the time to focus on, for yourself?
One for me, I mean, school's always been like a different thing for me in terms of what I do it for. Like I've always had this aspiration of the league, the league, the league, and it kind of consumes you. But I would tell all athletes, like, take advantage of that opportunity that we are being provided with in terms of an education and college. Because right now, my plan B is that I'm getting my master's, and football has granted me that opportunity through like my scholarship. So like that's not something that everybody gets to experience, and that's big. I'll be 23 years old and I'll have a master's. Like that's a big thing for your life. So that's one of my passions, is making sure that I see through this, and because it's a great opportunity. And then I have other passions and things I love to do. I love music. I would consider myself a DJ, but I don't have any of the equipment right now, but that might be one thing I pursue.
I love it.
Later down the line. I like playing music. I can play the piano. I'm a little rusty, but you give me 2 weeks of practice or something, I'll surprise you.
You're back at it. That's great.
And then at that point, just connecting with family. Because I am, when you play sports, you are away from your loved ones a lot, whether you know it or not. So especially once you go to college, like depending on where you go to school, you couldn't see your family for 75% of the year. So when I get some free time, I keep in touch with my family when I can.
No, I think that's so important too, because especially when you're on the go and you're traveling and you have a lot, especially in season, right? There's a lot on your plate, and you're balancing academics at the same time, and you getting your master's degree, you're going for that higher level of education. You want to be able to make sure you can still stay connected with family and loved ones.
Yeah.
What about going on to like mentors? Has there been any key people in your life that's really helped in aiding you in your career, and both as a student and as an athlete? Anyone particular that's been a good mentor for you?
Academically, my older sister is there for me a lot. Like she graduated from BC a little while ago. So like when I was coming up through school, like she was who I could look forward to help me with the paper or help me understand something in a class that I was having a hard time with. But for the most part, school, I didn't really need a mentor. You just kind of put your head down and work through that. But school wise, yeah, there's a lot of people that, again, that goes along with like the support of people from home. There's a lot of people that do what they can to mentor me or help me be put in a good position. Trainers, people letting you know like, hey, your mental health is important. A lot of different things, I feel like. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of people, not one name I could just throw out there. There's a lot of people that.
No, that's great. That's great. What about, when you touched a little bit on mental health and all that kind of stuff, where does that fall into place when especially when you're in season, you have a lot going on, or even in the off season when you're still training? How do you kind of take time for yourself to kind of just de-stress and really, kind of clear up that headspace?
I feel like that's an everyday thing. Every day you should take a moment to, I don't want to say talk to yourself. I mean, I do. It's okay to talk to yourself, but like,
Absolutely.
just to let you know, like, whatever you're going through, you know what I'm saying, just to breathe and know that without like the rain, there would be no sun type of thing. So like, you're going to get through it. So I don't really let myself like necessarily boil up to a point where it's like every week or so I'm checking in on myself. I try to make sure that daily I'm good.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. What about, kind of shifting a little bit back into football? is there any particular player that you've always looked up to and kind of wanted your game to take after? Or is there anyone that's really influenced you? You playing defensive back. Is there anyone special that's really been that type of role model for you in the sport?
Um, Man, I got a lot of favorite players, and like throughout my career in football, since I was 4, I always played quarterback or running back and safety. Those are my positions from 4 to till college, when positions usually become sole positions.
Right.
But growing up, my favorite player was LaDainian Tomlinson, top 5 running back, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So when I was playing running back, that's who I would want to model my game after. And then throughout my time growing up, football has changed a lot, from rules in football to padding equipment and things like that. So like a lot of things that I was seeing growing up, like was like massive hits, people getting helmets knocked off. Like they used to have it in the video games. It used to be, and like that was like the pro of defense. Like I enjoyed this sounds bad, but like football is a violent sport, but like I enjoyed the violence part of that side of the ball. So if I had anybody on that side, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Ronnie Lott, a lot of them are older players. There's some now, but like football, you don't really see the same type of aggression, I guess, as before.
All the rules changing and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just it's more. There's more stuff of caution now than it was back then when play. Yeah. No, that's awesome to be able to have, just to have those role models and icons you look up to as you continue to perfect your craft, within the game. But what about, going into 2023 in the next couple of weeks? What are some of your kind of big goals, if you thought about it so far? What do those goals entail, if you want to share with our audience, that you're really looking forward to accomplish, next year?
So I had a pretty good season this year, but of course, you always want to grow. So my first step after a season is recovery. Get all your, bumps, bruises, dings, get all that taken care of. So for me, it's just getting my body right, starting right now, lifting, running. The school part is school. I'm gonna make sure I finish that. But in terms of sports, it's really just staying on a grind and making sure you're eating, lifting right, sleeping right, putting the right stuff in your body so that you grow throughout the season, because you're not stagnant. Like you're not gonna stay the same. So either over these next 6 months until summer camp or fall camp comes around, either I'm gonna get better every day or I'm gonna get worse. So you want to work on making sure you get better every day. You don't really want to fall off, like, because there's people that aren't gonna fall off. So that's my thing, is making sure that I'm staying ahead of the curve, so that once season comes around, I'm ready.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of our core values too, is that growth mindset, right? You always want to continue to grow and get better. And I think that's an important lesson that you kind of taken into account that you want to focus on, as you go into each year and each season.
Yep.
What about, three important lessons that you've learned, whether it's in football or outside of football? What would be 3 lessons you would like to share, with the youth and the people that are in the audience listening to this podcast, something that's really resonated with you?
The first one, because this goes from when you're a kid to even when you're in the pros, that I've learned through football, is respect and discipline. So how I feel, if you want to live correctly, if somebody respects you, you respect them. Like there's always a level where you can have a conversation with somebody, you treat them correctly, they're going to treat you correctly.
Yep.
And discipline, building that routine. That could be you waking up in the morning and making your bed. Like I've heard that there are studies that say that that's something that can improve your life. So just like the discipline to like grow, to aspire to do something, to have a career, to do anything, just the discipline that you create for yourself can ultimately determine how good or bad life can turn out. 2, always work hard. It'll pay off. And that goes back to just being patient and staying on your grind. I went to 3 schools. So I was on scholarship at a D2 called Washburn, fresh out of high school. The staff loved me. It was a good opportunity that I had, but
Yep.
I chose to leave that because I wanted to follow my own dreams of playing Division One and that dream. So the struggles that came with that, I had to walk on, and walking on is a difficult task, especially at a Power 5 school. Earning a scholarship, earning respect from the 4 different coaching staffs that I had. So it paid off. I eventually earned a scholarship. I'm in the position now. I'm getting my master's. So everything that I've done in the past 5 to 6 years is working out right now. But that's because you work for it. So work hard in life. Anything you work, you can get.
Yeah.
And then 3, just to be appreciative of everything: life, health, waking up every day. When you're around football, you're around so many different personalities and characters. You really get to see different aspects of the world, because we're all pretty much in a bubble. If you can't, what I'm saying, if you're not traveling, you're only seeing so much. So when you're out at a different school, you're seeing somebody from California, somebody from Florida, New York, different sides of the country. So it makes you appreciative of all walks of life.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think just to rephrase that, you said respect and discipline, that's, quote I live by is how you do anything is how you do everything. Whether that's making your bed in the morning, it's going to translate if you're on time to the meeting, and really just taking care and all your priorities in the right way. And then when you said always, work hard, that's kind of like when I heard from Will Smith that, you're building stuff brick by brick, right? And you're not just focusing on the wall itself of being built. You're focusing on the foundation, that each day you can do this, and it's all going to add up over time.
Yep.
And that's going to create the results that you want. And I think that's perfect to your stories, because you've gone through all those trials and errors, and you've seen what you can do to actually reach your full potential. And that takes, going back to that discipline of every day of actually focusing on how you can work hard to get better. And then the appreciative part of being grateful, from meeting everybody that you meet in the world of football and outside of it, all walks of life, just being grateful to actually be in the presence of communicating and getting to know that person, whether it's a coach, teammate, player you're playing against. I think that's just so important to just be grateful to be in that moment, right? And so
Yep.
that's awesome that you said all 3 of those. So Curtis, once again, we're very grateful that you were here on our episode on our Burst Sports podcast. It's called The Next Generation of Superstars, and we're looking forward to your continued success into 2023.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate y'all for having me again. Thank you.
Thank you.